And with that beep, we start the charge on the most southerly charger in Australia. Hi, I'm Toaster from Aussie 8. Welcome to Southport, right at the southern end of Tasmania. I'm here today to do the final check-in on what will conclude the figure 8 part of our journey. Stay tuned at the end of this video because this is not the end of our trip. We will continue on and do other exciting things, and I will reveal some stats about our trip so far. So when I last left you, we had done the check-in, and this is probably all over 12 months ago, at Denham in Shark Bay in WA. So that was the most westerly charger. After spending the summer in WA and travelling back through South Australia, we headed north again on the Stuart Highway and did our second check-in at Kulgera Roadhouse. So this is a 32 amp setup, so we got the Fronius out and just had a 2-hour charging session there before heading on north. So that was the most central charger that we could find. We crossed the Tropic of Capricorn just north of Alice Springs. So again, we had been here on the first go through, so we just stopped and checked out at the marker that they have in Alice Springs. We then travelled on through into Queensland, and in Queensland we crossed the Tropic of Capricorn for a 4th time on our figure 8. So this would be the final time, heading southbound. It's just south of Rockhampton. So I checked out these old markers on the old Bruce Highway. So if you come up on the main highway, you won't see this. But these ones are pretty cool, just on this quiet now back road, country road. Yeah, so that marked the Tropic of Capricorn. And then headed south down the east coast, heading towards the most easterly charger, which is in Byron Bay. So it was at the library, a good old tritium charger. Luckily it was working, but one bit that wasn't working, which was fine for us though, was that it was free. So did the check-in there, checked out the lighthouse, which is at the most easterly extreme of the continent, and then travelled down through central New South Wales, through Tenterfield and Lismore, and Parkes and Dubbo. And then back through Canberra, which is actually where we started the trip. And then headed south through Cooma. Wow, what does that say? What does it say? No idea. Let's see if we've got a charge. Can't read their screen, but can we read our screen? Oh yeah, we're getting charging. Here we go. It's happening. And then down to Eden on the far south coast of New South Wales. Once we crossed the border into Victoria, we headed on to Wilson's Promontory, which is the most southerly point on the mainland, and there is a powered site set up, so 15 amp charging setup at Tidal River. So we did do a check-in here, but we didn't actually charge. I found this Polestar using the powered site. Yeah, so I took his check-in as our check-in. We didn't actually need a charge that day. But yeah, so that's the most southerly on the mainland. Wilson's Prom, there's a national park here. Beautiful beaches and stunning views of the Bass Strait, which would be crossing next. As we were approaching Melbourne on the Princess Highway, we saw this prototype MG. So in camouflage. I did a bit of Googling afterwards, and I think this is the HS EV MG. And it sounds like it's coming to Australia in 2025. So that was a by chance encounter. and then down to Geelong and caught the Spirit of Tasmania over to Devonport. And then once we arrived in Devonport, we then travelled down the Midland Highway through to Southport here. But before we did, we spent some time in Hobart. The Australian EV Association National Conference happened to be in Hobart. I had bumped into Harold Murphy earlier on in the trip, and we kind of had no fixed destination on our figure eight, and he said, well, why don't you make it down in Tasmania for this conference? So we did that. Got to actually meet Harold for a second time. First time was up in Broome. I helped him open the WA EV charger in Broome, so that was pretty cool. And then, yeah, again here at the conference. Met some other cool people, and also they had an expo on, so we got to see some EVs. A mate here, mate that I met at the conference, he has a few cars on the EV rental platform. So if any of you out there don't have an EV or are in a town, visiting a town, and don't want to rent a regular ICE car, why not check out EV? And by the way, I'm not sponsored by EV to say that, but I think it's a cool idea. So Harold has done many laps of Australia in an EV. He's probably up there in terms of the highest count. He and some mates, they're all WA based, started off and did a lap to the conference, but this time towing caravans. So this is Harold's setup, and yeah, he's infamous now for doing laps. I think some of them as short as like 15, 14 days, so crazy. Anyway, it just shows that you can take an EV pretty much anywhere in this country. Sometimes you need a little bit more time if you don't have access to fast charging, but we're in a beautiful country. Why not take the time and check things out? And we're doing the check-in here today in beautiful Southport. And there is this charger here at a cafe, currently not open. It's probably just sort of like a weekend thing, but they have a Chargefox charger here. So we're doing a bit of 32 amp AC charging. Yeah, so here are the stats for our figure eight. So it took us a leisurely 18 months, probably one of the slowest laps or figure eights of Australia done probably. So we'll take that as a record. Thank you, Guinness Book. We visited all 6 states and 2 territories. We travelled approximately 43,000 kilometres. Unfortunately, midway through the trip, I actually did reset the odometer for the trip, but yeah, it's almost 43,000 Ks. We've had 1.5 tyre replacements with the good old Tessie here. That's obviously a lot more than should be expected. So yeah, the life odometer for the car is 53,000. I think it's got to do with the weight we were carrying. So obviously there's a lot of luggage. You know, we pretty much, when we're not in accommodation, have everything in this car. So there's plenty of weight there. Yeah, so 1.5 sets of tyres, so essentially 6 tyres. And that cost us, and we had them replaced at Tesla. So 2,950 for the 4, and then 1,250 for the 2. We also chipped the windscreen passing a road train on the Stuart Highway. So that was another $1,960. And we also bust the sunroof. It wasn't related to the road train. I don't know what caused it. But again, that was, what was it? It was $2,595. So I think the moral of the story is make sure, especially if you're going to go on the outback, make sure that you have ticked that box for windscreen insurance. I don't know what you can do about the sunroof. I presume just the car insurance should cover that. Yeah, those are what other stats have I got here? Yeah, so for the charging cost and where we charged and what kind of devices, I will do a follow-up video to summarize those. Very picturesque part of the world. And yeah, so we've now done the check-in for all of the bits of the figure eight. So that kind of concludes the figure eight. But our journey is not over, so stay tuned for more adventures with Toaster, the coach, and Barney the dog. See you out there. Cheers.